You know, there's a saying that a picture's worth 1,000 words. This picture is worth 1,000 of any of our words. It is a picture of courage and strength, physical resilience, but also dedication. And I want to thank Team 26 for showing us what's important about America, what's important about being an American, which is doing, not just words, but action. And that's what Congress owes the American people. These riders remind us that Congress is complicit in those 30,000 deaths every year, the 90,000 that have occurred since Sandy Hook, by its abject failure to adopt common sense gun violence control measures. Congress is a part of the problem, not the solution. It is complicit in those deaths and injuries that are preventable and avoidable, senseless and needless. So your ride through snow and cold, over rough roads and tough traffic, reminds us about the importance of never giving up, moving forward, always. And I know that this picture, worth many more than thousands of our words, will also send a message to the American people. We will never give up, never go away, until there are common sense, sensible measures, like universal background checks, a ban on straw trafficking and illegal purchases, and yes, a repeal of the immunity to gun manufacturers that Senator Murphy and I have introduced in the Senate, a repeal of PLCAA, which closes the courthouse doors to victims of gun violence when they have legitimate grievances under the law against those gun manufacturers. That is abhorrent to the American system of justice. It is an exception for gun manufacturers that applies to no other industry in its scope, and it belongs in the waste bin of our legal system. The trauma that gun violence visits on the American people is beyond dollars and cents. It is measured in lives ruined in our neighborhoods and communities, families torn apart, domestic violence that becomes lethal and deadly, and an impact on the American fabric of life that is absolutely reprehensible. And that's why we're going to continue this effort. Our delegation is united, and you can see it here today, as we have been from the very start. This day is a proud one for Connecticut in the physical accomplishment that you have done. But it is a day that I hope may be the last one that we have when your ride is necessary. I hope these rides will become a thing of the past, and that the next one, and I would encourage you to make that next one, will be to celebrate sensible, common sense measures against gun violence that have been accomplished by the Congress. And we have time before next spring to do it. We have time before next spring to make sure that your next ride celebrates action by Congress that truly addresses a problem that kills and injures all of America in its scope and scale and horrendous impact.
I'm proud to lead the men and women of Team 26. They are true champions of change. We braved strong headwinds, cold, rain, and snow, and these bike messengers would not be deterred. Before arriving, we had events in Newtown, Peekskill, New York, Morristown, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Westchester, Pennsylvania, the University of Delaware, Baltimore, and early this afternoon in Southeast Washington. At each event, we heard from everyday people who are fed up with the level of gun violence in America. They asked us to deliver a message to Congress that Americans have had enough, that they are tired of gun violence, that enough is enough. And so I say to the members of Congress, we are here to deliver America's message. According to the latest Quinnipiac University poll, 89% of Americans favor requiring a background check on all gun sales. It is unfathomable that Congress continues to defy the will of the American people. In doing so, it is complicit in the carnage that occurs in our nation due to gun violence. Collectively, Team 26 has ridden over 40,000 miles between here and the Capitol, between Newtown and the Capitol during our 4 rides. During that time, more than 90,000 people have been killed by firearms in the United States. There have been at least 892 mass shootings. Behind these unspeakable acts, the daily drumbeat of gun deaths in America marches on. According to the Center for Disease Control, there are 92 firearm deaths every day. If that statistic holds true, during the 4-day ride from Newtown to the Capitol, 368 people in America lost their lives. In Newtown, we know too well the impact on families and on the community. 2 years ago in Harlem, Councilman Jumaane Williams implored us to ride on until people hear you and they understand that there are children dying in the streets. So we rode on, and last year we rode again, and we're back, and we'll keep coming back until Congress acts. Because this is America's team. We are America's bike messengers. We ride for the 89% of Americans who want background checks on all gun sales, including the majority of gun owners and hunters whose voices are being drowned out. We ride to remember all victims of gun violence. We ride for college students and their parents who don't want guns on campuses. On Saturday morning, we were given a petition by the Campaign to Keep Guns Off Campuses, which now has been signed by over 39,000 Americans in all 50 states. And we were asked to deliver that to Congress and to the White House. And so we'd like to present to Senator Blumenthal, Representative Esty, and Senator Murphy the petition, and we ask you to finish what we started and bring it to the floor of Congress. We ride because we promised that we would continue to honor the 26 children and educators we lost in Newtown. We made the same promise to the many victims' families in Baltimore, Bridgeport, Harlem, Philadelphia, and the District of Columbia. While we established Team 26 for Newtown, Team 26 could just as easily be named for a random weekend in Chicago. In fact, gun violence is so prevalent that we could be called Team 26,000, and that number would fall short of the number of gun deaths in America each year. Following the shooting at the Sandy Hook School, we were told that we were wasting our time in trying to press Congress to enact gun violence prevention laws. We were told that the kinetic effect would fade away. They could not have been more wrong. The kinetic effect is now the American effect. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent on things that matter." Reducing gun violence matters. And for Team 26, our many partners, and this growing movement to make America's children safer, our lives have just begun. We will not be silent. We will ride on.